Hey now, Adam Reaver, fu-tone.com here saying check out Nez Says.
Good evening. Welcome to Nez Says, a place where musicians can get together and inspire each other to play more guitar. It is Wednesday, May 26th, and it is a balmy evening here in New York. Boy, is it hot and rainy. Ben, what's going on, buddy?
Dave, another day north of the border here. Things, we cooled off to a beautiful 75 with scattered showers today. So, but I feel your pain, joy, humidity. Felt that last Friday. We hit 89 here, and I was like, wow, I was wearing a coat last week. Sure. Man, this is gonna be a great show. We're gonna be talking gear, this, that, and the other thing. We already got a bunch of people in the chat that I want to welcome. One of my good friends, a fellow Canuck with guitars. Plug. Yep. Terry's 3Gs. Terry, my man, how you doing?
Thanks for having me on, and it's an honor to be on here because I've been a fan of Dave's for quite a long time.
Oh, come on. I don't have fans. I have friends.
Either way, it's awesome to be on here, Dave.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Man, we already got in the chat. We got Thomas Santiago, Music Therapy Laz, Rob Baker of New Jersey, not of Kingston, and Sean Zimmerman. I'm sorry, every time I see Rob Baker's name, I have to say not from Kingston because he has the NJ there. And, there's the one in Ohio, the one in Kingston, the one in New Jersey. Those are the three Rob Bakers I know.
Yes,
wow.
Rob Baker of New Jersey is the other white meat.
Yes.
But we're happy to have him here. He's the most important Rob Baker right now because he's here.
He is. Exactly.
And thank you for being here. We have 11 people with us right now. Some have not said hello, and that's okay. Ty is not with us tonight. He is in the field. He has
to go to work.
He has a work-related, something work-related tonight, function, and he'll be with us next week. He's sorry he couldn't make it tonight.
Hey, Tinkerbell.
Hi, Tinkerbell. Hi,
Tinkerbell's
Thomas. Hi,
got some
Sean.
cool guitars. Woo. Tinkerbell just got what was it, Tinkerbell? An LTD Assault, which is their Flying V.
Nice. Hey, Guitar Man 45.
Woo. Yeah, it was cool. Hey, good to see Guitar Man 45 in here.
So we have a couple things to talk about tonight. We're gonna talk about this guitar in depth tonight. We're gonna talk about a guitar that I'm building tonight. I don't know if you guys know what this is for, but I'm starting a new build. Mm-hmm. Probably won't actually start it until after my wedding, but that's coming up in about a month.
That would be the smart move, Dave. That would be the smart move. But
but
here's the thing. Players have never been accused of being smart. So
here's the thing, though. I have everything except the body and neck. I've got the Floyd. I've got all three pickups. I've got all the accoutrements. The only thing I am missing is the body, the neck, the black pick guard, and a couple of the stickers.
Nice. And would that be a non-fine tuner Floyd going on it?
Yes, it is. It's a vintage 1980. Maybe it's a 79. I think it's a 79 garage Floyd Rose. It's not. Right. It's the second incarnation of the FRT1.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the exact bridge that was on the Bumblebee, but it's the next version with the next set of saddles that are on it. But there's no logo on the Floyd. So it is still a very old Floyd Rose, and still a
cool.
very, very cool thing. I also do need the post because those old Floyd Roses, the knife edges were smaller than the newer original ones. So the old posts for that are also smaller. So I have to. There are a couple set of them on Reverb. I just need to pony up the money for them because they're a little expensive.
Yeah, and that stuff. I don't know how much of that kind of stuff gets reproduced because it is a niche market. Like, let's be honest, who wants a Floyd Rose without fine tuners? You know, it's a hassle if you don't know what you're doing.
Well,
But-
certain people love them. Like I will say it, Brad Gillis will not play a Floyd with fine tuners on it. He only plays those really. He won't even play a new version of it. He'll only look for real old vintage ones, and he puts those on his guitars.
Beautiful.
And
those can't be easy to find.
they work for him. They work for him. So if you're making replicas, you kind of need to have.
Great.
I mean, if you're going to do it correctly, like the word says, replica. I mean, you can use whatever you want. You really can. But if you're making a true replica, you need to have the right stuff. So, luckily, I have a vintage Floyd Rose with no fine tuners, FRT1. It'll go on this guitar, and we'll talk more about it later.
Nice.
Nice.
So that's what's going on my end. But let's see what's going on your guys' end.
Oh, and you got to get correction. Tinkerbell, it's an Arrow 1000, not Assault. That's right. Kramer made
Okay,
it.
very good.
Nice. And we got Fruitcake Tony in the house and Charles
Hey, Fruitcake.
75M.
Hey, Charles.
Nice. Nice.
Well, I'm. Wait a second.
Yep.
I'm not tie, but I do actually have tie dye on.
All
Funny
right, so
enough.
you kind of have some tie going on.
Yeah, we got a bit of tie going on here.
Did you have any
Tie-dye Terry.
Thai food tonight?
No, that would have been nice though.
Nice. I like it. I like it. Well, Terry, do you have anything recent acquisitions? I know you're always got something going on in your Mad Lab over there.
The only thing that basically has gone on as of late was again the removing the gold from the gold top Harley Benton and making it a black top.
Right.
So that was pretty much a simple task compared to like other refinishes or redos that I've done on guitars over the years.
So that's basically now a black P90 single cut.
Yeah, well, I guess since
Saying, you know, we're here. We like here.
since we're here, so yeah, I didn't touch the back at all. So the
You didn't
back is
have to.
still. Yep.
Back is
Yeah.
black. Oh wait, there's a song in there somewhere.
So yeah, basically all I did was take the gold off the top, and I just went a gloss black all the way around.
That's really
and-
nice paintwork.
Yeah, thank you very much. Got a little bit of chip out here on this edge here that you can see a little bit there.
Oh, yeah. You know what you do? You just wear one of those Kerry King gauntlets with the spikes, you know, wear that for a couple of gigs. That'll just relic it right out and it looks natural.
But the funny
Well, that
thing
flare.
is Toman does not sell this guitar in any other color than their kind of off gold.
Right.
And like I said, you look at this guitar in its finish with a black, you can imagine they'd probably sell a lot of these guitars more so.
Well, and that's the thing. Basically, if you want that guitar from Harley Benton with P90s, you're stuck with a gold top.
Yep.
Which, you know, that's the idea was it was their throwback, their traditional thing with the gold top with P90s. But I think it looks great, especially with the off-white with the black. It's cool. Like if it was actual white, you know, instead of the cream, I don't think it would look it would look cheaper, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like what I was saying. Like, I had to laugh. Somebody was saying that I wanted a gold top or that I was obsessed with gold tops. And it's like, no, actually, same thing. If I was to ever get a Gibson, if I could afford it, it would be like the 55, which is the all black P90.
Sure.
Nice. Yeah, with the staple pickup in the neck.
Yeah.
Correct.
Hey, Crazy Cook.
Hey, Grace Cook.
Hey,
See
Crazy
you in
Cook.
here.
Thank you.
Very cool guitar, Terry. So,
Thank you very much.
for those of you who may or may not know, Terry has been so nice to moderate our chat while we've been doing these shows, and it's very nice of him to join us tonight. I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much again, Dave.
Just in case none of you heard me say that earlier. So, all right.
Yeah,
Well, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
What else is going on in the world of Canada?
In Canuckistan, if you will. I got I got rid of some gear last week. This week, acquired a bunch of gear. Busy week around here. I'm a big believer in karma. Anybody who watches my channel knows I'm a big believer in karma. And ironically enough, I got a text message early Thursday morning from my buddy Lawrence at LPD Pedals with a photo, and it just said, "Happy birthday, you're not going to get it in time. Hey, down and back with Corn Doug."
Very cool.
Cousin Doug. He messaged me, he goes, "Yeah, it's on its way, you won't get it in time, but here you go." And he had done his take on a Proco Rat, which he called the Vermin, which I really loved as a pedal. And he did a 4-knob version. So he added a bass control to just the filter / tone circuit. And so he sent that on its way. So I was really excited to see that. And a couple hours later, karma being what it is, Buddy called me up and he was picking my brain about rats and the different generations, this and that. And he said, "I'd like to get just a regular rat to start with and go from there." And I said, "Well, I have one sitting here, and I have the Vermin, I had a rat, and then I got this other one on the way." I said, "It's available." He said, "Great, I'll take it." Done. So move that along to make room for this one. And then the next day I had a buddy contact me up. He's getting up there in age and health isn't doing too well and decided to part with his gear collection. So I bought out a Squire Bullet Strat, a J Tercer JT220, which is their Les Paul, which ironically, I used to own that guitar and gigged with it for a number of years. So I'm really happy to get that back in my family of gear. A Sound Gear bass, an SR80 Ibanez bass, which I used to own briefly. A little PV bass practice amp, and an original first run Viper modeling amp, which is going to go to my sister.
Those Vipers are cool.
Yeah, and the first gen were the better ones. The second ones with the VIPs, they didn't have the good Sims. I don't know. I just like the original run the best out of those ones.
Yeah, I've owned the Gen 1 and the Gen 2. I never did get the Viper Pro. And again, a little backstory, PV has actually discontinued the line as it is. So somebody actually had one of the VIP 2s and they went to PV to get it warrantied. And PV even said to them, "We're sorry, we can't warranty it." And the guy's like going, "But you have a warranty on it." And the guy's like going, "Yes, but the amount of time for us to get a replacement part in to repair it is unknown at this point in time." So they've totally squashed that whole series, which was a shame because I'd owned 2 versions of the Gen 1. I had the Viper 30 like Ben just got, which was really good for at the time. And then I also had picked up a used Viper Tube 60 combo, which was just a beautiful amp. The tubes and the preamp and in the power amp section of it were the things that actually made it an amazing amp.
Because it was that hybrid of you had the modeling, but then it would throw it through some tube essentially to warm it up, and it's just all right, sure. Like I'd hate to be the tech that would have to service that. And awesome, Crazy Cook got the pick. He became a channel member over on my channel, and he got a Mike Starr pick, original bassist for Alice in Chains.
Oh, how cool. So, Ben, karma being what it is, and you being a believer in karma, does that actually make you a karma chameleon?
It does, Dave. And yes,
Good one.
down and back with Cordog, he says, heard you talk about my wife, because I can always say it. Sometimes I end my shows with Karma is real. Sometimes I'll just say Doug's wife is real, because he married Karma. So, yep.
Nice.
Yeah, imagine living with Karma. Mm-hmm. Hey, David Scher is here. Awesome to see David
Hey,
Scher.
David. Very cool.
Peter Bell loves the rat pedal. Nice. Yeah, the rat pedal, it's its own unique beast. And Dave, when we had talked a while back about, certain things you like to have around the place, go-to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because the rat is such its own unique thing, and it doesn't take up a lot of space, I think everybody should have a rat pedal, at least sitting on the shelf, if not on their pedal board.
Yeah, I agree.
I admit that's one pedal I haven't actually ventured to get over any of the amount of years that I've been playing off and on. And I wouldn't mind checking it out because of that aspect of going from dirty distortion to fuzz.
See, I don't have an original Rat, but I do have the Jam Pedals Rattler, which I think is a really good version of that.
And I have no problem with, like people are like, you got to have the original one. No, you don't, because maybe the original one doesn't work for you and your sound that you're going for. So a lot of times, your favorite one might be a boutique builder that added a mid control or a tone shift, switch. Who knows what it is, that they added to the circuit and it works for you.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Dwight Bailey, how are you?
Hey, Dwight.
Hey, Dwight. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not a big fan of the Rat pedal to begin with, but the Rattler by Jam Pedals is a bit sweeter in sound. So I guess if you have to have one, for me, that's the one I like.
Sure.
It's not on my board, but it's available if I ever need it. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to get into that Mick Mars tone, love it or hate it, right into a Marshall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, I swear that was one of those tones, at times terrible, but like the first album, terrible tone, but I love that terrible tone because it was so focused and just cut through the mix. And there was no mistaking it. That's Mick.
Yeah, some songs sounded better than others. I'm not a huge Mick Mars fan. But, the Theater of Pain stuff, a little later on in their
Sure.
career, I'm a fan of that. Of course, Girls, 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 that record sounded better. But the first records just didn't do it for me. It was too raw for me.
Sure. Yeah, I get that because that's what I loved about the first album was it reminded me of all the punk rock albums I used to buy that, were made in someone's basement, and you could tell, because it had that rawness. It was just like, it seemed like the record label just said, you know what, we're just going to take your demo that you were passing around and we're just releasing that, which was great. And that's essentially what it was. Because I remember I had the original release of their first album, which had an extra track on it that got dropped when it was re-released on the major label. Can't remember what the song was, but they did drop one track for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Tinkerbell says, I don't know about mixed tone, but the riffs, the man is a legend. I agree with that.
He had some great riffs.
And the odd tuning as well.
Hey, Michael B.
D standard. Yeah. Hey,
Tom,
Michael B.
Hello.
Hey, Michael. Well, didn't he also tune up for some songs as well, too?
No, they were always D standard.
Oh.
Yeah, they were down below all the time. And even lower points.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't even know what they were probably tuned to for the last few tours, because you figure every band eventually drops another half step for the singer's benefit. And,
Well, that's what Sammy Hagar's doing now, the Circle or whatever band he's with. Whatever guitar player he plays an E chord in the first position, it's really a D. They tune a whole step down. So, like, when you hear the song Pound Cake, it sounds really weird because it's a lot lower than it sounds.
Right, because that'd be in what, drop C?
Well, no, it would be D because it's originally an E on the record.
Okay, I thought I always play it in drop D for some reason.
Yeah, no, it's E. It's E, but yeah, now it's D.
It would
sounds
truly make
good.
it pound cake.
Oh wait, no, I was thinking of another track. That's why. Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, all good stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Dave, why don't
yes.
you tell me about a little bit about that guitar in your hand? Because I was lucky enough to meet the guy who built the original one.
Ah, yes. So this is my replica of the Steve Vai Green Meanie.
Ooh,
And
nice.
when the original guitar was brand new, it was a Sunburst guitar, and it belonged to Grover Jackson. Now, when Steve Vai went on tour with Alcatraz, he didn't have many guitars to take with him, he didn't have any guitars that were reliable enough to take on the road with him. So he went to Grover, and he saw what became this guitar sitting there. It was Grover's personal guitar, and Grover lent it to him. And Steve used it as his main guitar for the whole Alcatraz tour, and then procured it for himself, and told Grover that he fell in love with the guitar, and that Grover wasn't getting it back. Oh, and by the way, I painted it slime green.
Yeah.
So for the beginning of the David Lee Roth tour, it was this green color with a white pickguard and different color pickups and a chrome Floyd Rose. And then as the tour wore on, instead of just taking the pickups out, he changed pickguards with with different pickup configurations in it. Same configuration, different pickup models in the guitar, different prototypes. So he would have a black pickguard at some point, then it would be white and black. However, it ended up with a black pickguard. He he fell in love with skateboarding and skaters, not skaters in particular, but skateboarding. So he adorned the guitar with a whole bunch of skateboard stickers.
And that's how I took notice of him, Dave. Like,
yes.
I knew him as David Lee Roth's guitar player, but then I thought, this guy's got to be cool. When I saw, because I was a skater at the time, and I was like, who's this guy with the Bones Brigade stickers all over and the Vision? And I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. So here's the guitar. Guitar is made of alder, the body. The neck is maple, of course. This particular neck has some flame in it, which is really nice. There's very little flame, but some. Nickel silver frets, because I'm not crazy about stainless steel. Just not crazy about it.
Sure.
And the reason being is because the weather here is we have 4 seasons, in New York.
Yeah.
And the humidity, it's either humid or it's really dry. You get fret sprouting, and when you have fret sprouting on stainless steel frets, if you try to use a file on it, unless you have a diamond file, you're going to break your file.
Mm-hmm.
Now with nickel silver, the nickel silver is, of course, a lot softer. So anytime I need to work on the fret sprouting on the neck, which luckily this guitar has never had, it's a lot easier to work with.
Yeah. Much softer metal to work with.
It's a softer metal. And I have so many guitars that I never really wear down a set of frets. Never. I may have worn down a set of frets on one guitar when I was working, when I was gigging. My main guitar. I have fret job on that. The only time I fret a guitar is if I buy a guitar, a used guitar that needs a fret job, or a vintage guitar that needs a fret job. Other than that, if I buy a new guitar, I'll probably sell it before it needs a fret job.
Yeah.
So I never worry about that. The pickups in this guitar are these are all DiMarzios. The humbuckers are PAF Pros. The middle pickup is a HS2. It has a 500K pot, 250K tone pot which is hooked up, but on the original there's no knob, so I left it off. This is a super switch because with a regular 5-way switch, you can't get the gem style wiring. And what the wiring is, when it's down in the first position, you get the full humbucker. Second position, you get the inner coil of the humbucker and the middle pickup. Third position is the middle pickup alone. Fourth position is the inner coil of the neck pickup and the middle pickup. And the fifth position is the neck pickup. Now, with a regular 5-way switch, you can't get all those combinations. One of the outer ones have to suffer for some reason.
Right.
You can't get all 5. So you need a super switch, and and there are 3 different types of super switches. So you need to know how to wire it, which was a big pain in the ass.
Hey, I want to welcome. We got Hardwood Steaks tuning in. Good to see you.
Hey, Hardwood.
Now, I believe DiMarzio makes those super switches. Do they not,
Yes.
Dave?
DiMarzio makes them, Fender makes them, and Switchcraft makes them.
A fresh batch of DiMarzio super switches arrived at Tessie Switch, where you can shop and use coupon code NEZSAYS and save 15% on your DiMarzio super switch. Just saying.
Nice.
Very cool.
Not that I may have one on order. Just to have around.
So to finish off with this guitar, it's got an original Floyd Rose on it with the original arm. These like the way it was in the early to mid '80s. I like that arm better because it sits lower than the newer style arms that screw on and off. You know, with the collar. Those arms, those newer arms, sit up about 9 degrees higher than these arms do. And I like to hold on to the bar while I'm picking.
More like a Strat.
Yes. So I like the lower arm.
Yep.
This also has a real vintage Charvel USA neck plate.
Very cool.
Nice.
It was very hard to procure. And that is pretty much the guitar in a nutshell.
What's the width on the nut?
This is an R3.
Okay.
This is an R3 nut. And the reason why I went with R3 is because I think the string spacing to me is the most comfortable. It really is.
The best way to do it.
I used to not like it. I used to like R2 nut, which is 1 5/8 inch.
Mm-hmm.
But I've really become a fan of, since I'm more of a Gibson guy these days, I've become a fan of 1 11/16, and even 1 3/4.
Nice.
Yeah, I like my Charvel. My original Charvel is 1 3/4, so that's even really comfortable. Which that's an R5 nut.
Right.
But actually, I have an R3 nut on that as well, because an R3 nut, which is what this is, and an R5 nut is the same. It's tall, the same height, but a different width. So on my R5 nut shelf, or an R5 nut, I have an R3 nut on it, so that I have plenty of room at the edge of both high and low E string, so neither string are falling off. But I don't need any shims because it's the same height as an R5.
Nice.
Very cool. And I want to welcome James Gum. Good to see
James.
in here. Now, I have a question on that because I only know enough to get myself in trouble. Is there such a thing as an R1 and an R4? Because I always hear about 2, 3, and 5.
There are many of them. There's an R1, R4, R6, R7, R8, R9. I think that's all. I don't think there's anything higher than 9. And what that is just think of there's at least 2 of each width, at different heights.
Okay.
There are at least 2 of the same heights but different widths. So it kind of varies.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I was curious
That
about
would
that because
make
you like you say you hear 3 of them. R2 and R5 mostly, and the R3 the third. But that's kind of it. You never hear of any other ones. So that's why I was just curious. As I figured it had to be, but then again, it could be like the James Gang's Funk 49. We've heard 48 briefly, but we didn't hear the first 47. So I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
It's also good information because if you go and you order replacement parts, say like the Ibanez I look at guitar finish, I don't know what type it is, I just know it's that type of part, and I could put it on and it could be not compatible.
Right.
Right, and usually Ibanez Floyd style nuts are not compatible with Floyd Rose ones. So if you were to buy a Floyd Rose nut to go on your Ibanez, it's not going to fit exactly. Oh, it'll fit in the holes, but it's not going to be exactly right. They have their own thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's good to know. Thanks for sharing that, actually.
No problem.
And good question, Ben.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, so if you're ever looking for a new Floyd, if you're ever looking for a new locking nut for your Ibanez, it's best to go on an Ibanez. Like if you're going, look on Reverb under Ibanez locking nuts, or eBay, same thing. You got to look under Ibanez because it's a little different.
Yeah, there's a guy I know that I've dealt with for Ibanez parts. I think his site's Ibanez Gems or something, but that's all he does is Ibanez.
Mm-hmm.
Ibanez, all the Ibanez parts, Ibanez guitars.
Yeah, is his name Rich? Or something?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy, and he's very particular the way he wants you to order stuff from him too.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I don't blame him.
Anybody in the chat, if you have any questions or comments, definitely ask away. Guitar Man 45 used to buy his Floyd Rose Trums from Carvin for $90 a piece. Nice.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, I get my parts either directly from Floyd, if I need an original style Floyd Rose, or I get them through our sponsor, which is Mr. FU-Tone himself, Adam Reaver.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy. Yeah. I have not bought a trim from him, but I have bought a locking nut when I was buying a neck from him. It's like, might as well get the nut at the same time. That way I knew it fit because, and Adam will take that 5 minutes just to, even though you pull it out of that bin, in theory it should fit on that neck. He'll take the extra time to just make sure.
Yeah, he's the guy. You just tell him what you have, what you need, and he just sends you the right thing. He just always sends you the right thing. So he's really knowledgeable. He's probably the best guy out there, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess not everybody likes everybody in this world, but he has done and can do no wrong in my book.
I agree as well. There is lifelong ambition. At some point, I'd like him to set up one of my guitars just for the fact that I would have an Adam Reaver set up a guitar because he knows the stuff, and that's his kind of his fun gig, you'd say, Dave, is being a pro tech to a variety of musicians in a variety of genres too. It's not like he just works on one style guitar.
Right. And not to pile on stuff, but look at the people that are using his stuff. Look at his portfolio. Look at all of the celebrity musicians that actually use his stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it surprised some of the artists because everyone thinks, FU-Tone, you think locking tram, Floyd Rose style, but no, he does trick parts for all kinds of bridge systems.
Yes, and acoustic guitars too.
Acoustic guitars. So when you see, he'd be working on some of Slash's gear, and you're like, what gear of Slash's would he be working on? All of it. Because Slash knows. He's like, he's the guy, come over. And that's the thing. He's the great guy, the guy will come around, check out your gear. You have your tech, who's great, but everybody wants Adam as their tech. Come on. Who wouldn't want Adam as your tech?
Yeah. Yes. Indeed.
And he's a friend of ours, so why not give him a shout out? That's the way I see
it. Exactly. So, so that finishes this guitar. This This is, I want to say, my latest build. I think this is my latest build. Yeah, I don't think I have anything that I built
Mm-hmm.
this guitar. And actually, my partner actually built this for me. I didn't even touch this guitar. So I didn't build this guitar. My partner, Nick, who will be on one of our shows in the near future,
Cool.
built this guitar, and it was gifted to me.
I believe the fancy term, Dave, is you commissioned that guitar.
I commissioned this guitar, and the funny thing is I was supposed to actually build it. But this happened. And then this happened. So what happened? He had to build it. And he did an amazing job. So great job. I couldn't have done better myself.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Awesome. Well, I got a guitar in. I'm going to show off.
Yeah, please do.
Ooh. This is a guitar that was purchased. I know the lineage on this thing going back 32 years. This thing was purchased from Steve's Music in Toronto, Ontario, right on Queen Street West, downtown Toronto. And it is, I came to find out, partially through research and partially through Dave Nesdahl here, it is an Ibanez EX 350, 1989, purchased early 1990 by my buddy Greg back in high school. He played it for a couple of years, and then, of course, like a lot of people, finished high school. It went into its case, got under the bed, back at the parents' home, whereas he went off to college. He was down for a visit. He happened to come into a place I was working at. He said, "You still got that Ibanez?" He says, "I do." He says, "Do you want to buy it?" And I said, "Well, I just happened to get my tax refund today. And wouldn't you know, it was basically the same price." Karma, I'm telling you. So I picked this up around 1995, 96. Owned it until 3 years ago, Terry. I think 2019, I think I sold it to a friend of the channel, Absolute Mayhem. And it was a little beyond me for setting up. I got it close, but I couldn't fine-tune it because it's advanced. He took it to a guy who set it up wonderfully, and so I recently borrowed it because I'd like to shoot a demo on it because I thought I'd make a cool demo video on the channel. And made in Korea. And the odd thing is, it literally has no identifiers as to what it is, Dave. It literally just says Ibanez on the headstock and absolutely nothing on the back.
Wow.
Where's the serial number?
On the neck plate.
And what does it start with? I can't see.
89.
Okay.
89067 something. And then it has another one dremelled into it, but I don't know what that is. But yeah, it just literally says Ibanez with a serial number. And there's no identity, because I remember having this thing for years, and I could have swore, EX350 was, in my head with no proof, per se. And then I remember sending you some photos a few years ago to get a better look, because I'd asked you on a live stream, and between yourself and Steve from Boston, basically got all the info. You're like, who played one of those? I'm like, no, Dave, tell me. And you went, Andy Timmons played one of these.
Yeah, that is the guitar that the Andy Timmons model was born from.
And it too has a is that licensed or an actual? No, licensed under Floyd Rose.
Yeah, it's a license.
Yeah. So prior to now, what would be did this end up morphing into the Ibanez trem, edge trem, or
the edge trem?
Completely different?
The edge trem was the first one that came out in. I want to say the edge trem, or the first incarnation of the edge trem, I think came out in like 1985, somewhere around there.
And they reserved it for their higher end.
It was on. There was a tremolo that they used for the Roadstar model, which was their Strat style. It wasn't a lawsuit thing. It was like a Super Strat, their Super Strat. And it was a weird trem. I don't know what they called it, but it was on the Roadster. And then they came out with the first version or the first incarnation of the Edge, and that was a high-end tremolo.
Okay.
And then they started using the Edge for everything, and they used it for the gem guitars, the RG guitars, the pretty much every guitar, the Saber guitars, the Radius guitars, the Satriani guitars, which are the Radius guitars. And then from there, they went to the licensed by, other lower end models, maybe pot metal style.
Sure.
But the Edge Tremolo, I think, came out in either late '84 or early '85.
Okay.
I
was always curious about
details. I got the exact details here, of course, through IbanezFandom.com Wiki Edge. The Edge Tremolo is a double-locking tremolo bridge developed and manufactured by Godo for Ibanez. It is sometimes referred to as the original Edge to differentiate it from the various versions that have been released since. The Edge is acclaimed by many guitarists as the finest trim system available in the market. It was introduced in 1986, discontinued in 2003, and then brought back in 2010 through 2018.
Wait, what was the first year it came out?
86.
Okay, so I was wrong. So, all right, 86.
You're close.
Yeah. We'll just welcome to live stream about horseshoes, where close is good enough.
Well, I like to.
It's all good.
Again, yet another video where I'm wrong about something.
Well, see, Dave, you're big on replicas, and Terry and I, we just shoot for tributes. Hardwood has an interesting question. Reaching way back in the tone machine. I've yet to hear an authentic version of Rock Around the Clock, Bill Haley's guitarist lead tone. What guitar/amp was used?
Oh, that's a good question. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know exactly, but I'm willing to bet that it was some sort of Gibson hollow body guitar.
Yep.
Maybe a Birdland, maybe a Johnny Smith, maybe a L5, something like that. Very big hollow body.
Mm-hmm.
With probably some sort of little Gibson amplifier. Probably. Now, that being said, I don't know for sure, but to my ears, it sounds like that would be what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of P90 in a big hollow body.
Yeah, I'm trying to think as I recall, like from photographs, I don't recall it being a Gretsch. I recall it being Gibson. And, because Bill Haley and the Comets were kind of the first rock and roll band in many ways, I wouldn't doubt if there was some help from Gibson. Here's a guitar and an amp, Dave. Much like Leo did with some of the country players out west, right around the same time. Tinkerbell says an ES300, perhaps.
That could be very well be.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not my wheelhouse.
Right.
So I'm just guessing because
I would love to know, because that was a great tone.
I'm guessing because of the era, and
Mm-hmm.
because I hear the sound in my head, and it certainly does not sound like a Stratocaster or a Telecaster to me.
No, it's definitely hollow body, and because Bill Haley and the Comets were literally that go-between between big band and Chuck Berry, right?
Mhm.
Like they still sat as an ensemble, with the little placards or whatever, like you would have with the Dorsey bands type thing. I don't think the guitar had an Edge Low Pro though, Sean Zimmerman. But I do think, Gibson, definitely a jazz box type situation. Tinkerbell says a Gibson BR1 amp. That could very well be as well.
Now, Tinkerbell, are you just throwing these names out, or are you doing the? Are you doing the whole?
Just a plausible guess, because you don't say Kramer, but if you put out a plausible answer like that, yeah.
Okay. 45 said he used the Gibson ES350, which makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ES300, 350. Yeah, sure. Looking on the web. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, that makes me feel a little bit better. So there you go. Thank you, Tinkerbell.
Hey, Matthew Stewart.
Matthew Stewart is here. So we could talk about a couple more guitars. I actually have another guitar we could talk about, but we can discuss.
Dave starts from the strap and works his way down to building a guitar.
So, as we all know, Jody Head is one of our sponsors.
Yep.
But Jody Head, I didn't ask Jody Head to make this because I wanted to get the same exact strap that Brad Gillis uses for his Red Jester guitar. And this strap is made by a lovely lady named Jen at AF Designs. And she makes snakeskin straps, all kinds. And this is the exact strap that she makes for Brad Gillis. She has made this strap, or several of them, for Brad. But this is the one that is adorned on his guitar right now. And it is a reticulated python on a very heavy piece of leather. But it is real snakeskin, real reticulated python. And it's the top of the snake, so it's the most it's the prettiest part of the snake.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that pattern.
Yeah, and not every snake looks the same. So, of course, So when I called her and spoke to her, I said, I'm making an exact replica of Brad's guitar. Is it possible to find the darkest piece of reticulated python to put on to make my strap? And she says, I have the second half of his latest strap. I'll just throw it on yours. So basically, this is it.
Beautiful.
A reticulated python could be, I guess, 17, 18 feet long.
But they can get big.
And this is not that long. I mean, it's I have it at the longest 55 inches.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's pretty big. So I'm working on having all the parts I need to get this guitar done. It's going to take a little while. I know I've been threatening to build this guitar for quite some time now because I've had I have all the pickups.
I was going to say, how deep are you going, Dave? Are you doing onboard wireless system?
I don't think so. I think I'm going to make it look like that, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Well, that would be almost impossible to replicate because some of that stuff Brad built himself.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm going to be using the same exact aircraft switches that he has on his guitar. I'm going to use basically the same exact pickups. He's got a JB. I'm making a modern day version of his guitar, except I'm not sanding down the back of the neck. I'm going to leave the whole neck black because I thought it looked cooler that way.
Nice.
But I have the JB from actually Ty gave me an early 80s JB, which is going to go in that guitar.
Ooh, cool.
I have the red Duncan blade pickup for the neck, and I have an original 1962 Strat pickup that'll go in the middle like his. I have the second incarnation of the FRT1 Floyd Rose with non-fine tuning. I have the correct Chevron Goto tuning pegs in black. The only thing I'm missing is the body, the neck, the pick guard itself, and I have on order some of the stickers, but not all of them. There are a couple that I just can't find, and that's it. And I'll order the body and neck after I get married, which is July 10th. I just don't think buying more parts for a guitar when I need to pay for a wedding.
Well, that's the smart move, Dave, and it makes the lifespan last exponentially. I think less pillows over the head in your sleep, perfect. Yeah, but that moment, the wedding's over, game on. So.
Oh yeah, and I told her that today. I told Desiree today. I said, I'll wait till we're done with this and comfortable. And she said thank you, and she appreciated it. And, a body and neck, honestly, not terribly expensive. It's not like I'm buying a whole guitar. I've had most of these parts already.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you've already got most of all the hard to find stuff.
Yeah. I think altogether, what I'll need to spend under $400 to get a body and a neck and the little parts that I do need, and then of course the time to paint it and make it right, and then relic it and put it together. My partner Nick will help me out with that, and I'll take care of him a bit, and I'll have a really cool replica. Probably in all honesty, probably the closest replica to the original, because Nick is he's that meticulous. He just he doesn't go for I almost had it, or it's close enough. He doesn't do that. If it's not exact, he doesn't do it. So and I did get I got a couple of original real Fender decals for the headstock, which I'm really proud of.
Nice.
1962 decals.
Nice.
Yeah, they're raised. The decal's raised. It's the spaghetti logo.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Really, really nice stuff. So
great. I'm looking forward to that build because Brad is a great player, but for some reason he doesn't get mentioned in the same breath as the plate bully plays similar to. We'll say.
Yeah. Well, something. I've been trying to contact him. We're Facebook friends. I know that he actually does monitor his Facebook. He does not. He's not very easily accessible. He doesn't talk. I've tried to ask him questions about his guitar. I've tried to talk to him. I've tried to get him on the show. It's just he's just a very quiet dude. He's very particular who he talks to. So we'll see. We'll see if anything happens in the future. But as of right now, he's very quiet dude.
Yeah.
But one of my favorites. One of my favorite guitar players. Oh my God, is he good?
He's one of those guys, like not being into that. I don't even like to use the term flashy, although Brad will tell you I was pretty damn flashy back in the day because he was all about raising the bar. But he has an infectious attitude, like just wonderful positive attitude, smile on his face, one of those guys. It's like similar like Steve Vai, great player, but in my opinion, greater person than he is a player. Yeah. And Brad, same way in many ways. He's like, for the limited amount of footage you can find of him sitting down in that, especially the long interview format, which is more than that 3-minute soundbite.
Oh yeah,
You're
right. I don't think he likes long interviews. I don't think he likes to sit in one spot.
Yeah.
And I don't really think he likes to talk about himself.
No.
At least it seems that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the key is, as close as you get is talking about his gear, which he's quite passionate about, but he doesn't want to talk about himself per se.
Yeah. Correct.
It was interesting listening to him in the what's his name now?
Joel Hoekstra?
Crazy. No, who he originally got his start with. Zappa.
Oh, Ozzy? Oh, Zappa. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're talking about Steve Vai, or?
That's who I thought we were talking about.
Oh, okay. No, I was talking. We were talking about Brad Gillis, but yes, Steve Vai also. Yes, Steve Vai did start with Zappa. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
I was like, when did Brad play with Zappa?
No, we were actually talking about
could.
both.
That's the thing. That's the scary part. Is Brad could. So that's why I'm like, did he? Didn't he? Okay.
No,
well, actually, the way Frank Zappa was, who knows?
True.
Like that recent documentary done by Frank Zappa's son. said like the amount of musicians that Zappa would go through was just insane.
Or even come in to do a session, right? Like
Yep.
I could see him bring in whoever, because he has a certain thing in his head, and he'd be like, you know what? That's the guy who can do this and that.
Yeah, like it was so weird how it was like they said he could invite someone in and they could come in, they could maybe play a few notes, and he could be like, okay, see ya. And then other times it could be the same thing. Person could play a few notes, and the person could be in his band for like the next 4 years.
Yep.
Very
Very
true. Very true.
Awesome.
Tinkerbell says Steve Vai is gold. Well, that's pretty true.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty true. An amazing musician he is.
He is. He is. I'm still waiting for that acoustic album by Steve Vai. Still waiting, Steve. Still waiting.
Is he doing one?
Well, it was just dropped by, I don't know if it was on this channel or my channel, but one of us had, I'm going to throw the name right under the bus. Larry Mitchell just let it go as an aside line during a live stream. He goes, oh yeah, and Steve's doing an acoustic album. I'm like, wait, what?
I was just going to say that.
Well,
That wasn't
speaking
it
of
Larry
Larry
that said
Mitchell
that?
and the acoustic album,
Nice.
get to Bandcamp and buy this record.
Mm-hmm.
I love that cover.
The
That's
Light
a beautiful
Within.
cover.
The Light Within. This is his acoustic record. Get that. Get that record. It is amazing.
Such a
And
great record.
Shadows on the Soul, which is the electric record.
Mm-hmm.
Check these records out on Bandcamp.
Yeah, what does a guy do who's traveling the world every day, one of the busiest guys that we know, happen? What does he do when the world stops and gets locked down? He releases 2 albums.
Yes. Well, I guess they're more like EPs, but yeah, 2, an acoustic and electric, one for each.
Yep. Just depends on what kind of mood you're in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, what else do we have here today?
What else? What's going on? Well, there was a bit of music world news this week. Not really your wheelhouse, Dave, but longtime bassist, as in for the better part of 40 years now, Dave Ellefson was let go from Megadeth.
I heard.
And that's for considering they've had a revolving door of guitar players and drummers over the years, the one constant was Dave and Dave in the band.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was interesting, to say the least. So the big debate is who is going to fill that role. Although, I don't know how well Dave Mustaine's doing physically these days after his battle with cancer. So
Yeah, who knows?
who knows? But that, in the news. So, hey, if you got 4 strings and like to play an octave lower than a guitar player, put in your resume. Dave Mustaine, Hollywood, California.
What other news? How about the new released Fender stuff?
Which
Oh,
new
yeah.
Fender stuff?
The Ultra Lux.
That's
That was the line I wasn't allowed to talk about for 4 months.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, apparently they're tagging that word Lux on all kinds of stuff and jacking up the price. It's the new line. Everything's this, and then the Ultra, and then the Ultra Lux.
Now, what's the difference? I know they make a locking tremolo version. They
And
make
I
a
believe
standard
stainless
tremolo
steel frets.
version. Okay, so tell me, because I'm not up on this. Tell me what you know. Tell me what you know.
I heard stainless steel frets, possibly like say locking trim, basically lipstick and mascara on an Ultra series. Just that extra little bit of parts, and a slightly higher price point.
There's already photos up on Fender's website. Was it? Can't remember the name of the place out in BC. They actually have already showed off one of the Strats, but basically the rundown is stainless steel frets, compound radius fretboard, Floyd Rose in some instances, new cutaways, which are look kind of
More aggressive cutaways.
The colors are not super great, though the place in BC actually did show one off that had a dark, like two-tone sunburst finish with a black painted headstock and
Yeah,
rosewood
I dig the
fingerboard
black
or whatever.
headstock. For
It
some
looked
reason, I dig the
actually
black.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
Also a Telly with dual humbuckers and a Floyd Rose.
Sure, because when I think Telly, I think that, but sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd take one, Terry. Who are we kidding, right? I would take a dual humbucker.
Yeah.
Floyd Rose Telly.
Or Landon Bailey, maybe even.
Yep.
Anyone that's a Telly nut.
Yep.
Well, let me see if I can find one here. Hang on a second.
Yeah, I forgot. Those ones got released. I still can't talk about the new line of Mexican fenders. What?
I didn't hear what you just said.
Exactly. Give it a month or two. We'll be talking about it quite a bit. That's all I'm saying. Charles 75N is asking who our favorite Telly players are.
Oh.
Where? Wow. You know,
I've got quite a few favorite Telly players.
me too.
But my favorite Telly player of the week, and I'm seriously saying for the week,
Sure.
is Marty Stewart.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Marty Stewart. A great choice. Hell of a picker. Hell of a career. Man, you know. You figure he's one of the senior pickers down in Nashville now, and he started out as a child prodigy. He's been around that. Like, wasn't he playing with, like, he started out playing a young child mandolin player, playing gigs with Bill Monroe, Ernest Tubbs, like, right at the end of their careers.
Yes.
And then right up on through. But Marty Stewart, yeah. Oh my God. The last of the Rhinestone Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, granted, there are so many, Vince Gill,
Yeah.
Johnny Hyland, all these guys, they're all amazing.
Personally, I was going to go with Jimmy Page and Keith Richards, but I couldn't toss the coin.
Oh, well, you can do that.
Yeah.
That's true. There is a lot, just like.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we've always said, the Telly fits so much everywhere in mixes and this and that they're all over music to the point where Robin Ford.
Well, speak
Right?
of Robin Ford, his blonde Telly that looks like your 67?
Mm-hmm.
Well, his is in 1960. And 30th Street Guitars here in Manhattan is making me a replica of that guitar.
Oh, nice.
I've had, down to the last nick and scratch on it. I commissioned it in January. It's in paint right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I should have it sometime next month, in the next 45 days.
I can't wait to see it.
Awesome. In
And there
my
you go.
case,
It'll look very similar to that.
oh, that'll be awesome. In my case, I'll mention probably not one of Ben's favorite folks, but he's big in Canada, and most of his career, especially as of late, is a Telly player, David Wilcox.
Oh, okay.
Barbarian
I did
legend.
walk out on him in concert one night.
But he has an awesome 79 Telly that actually has the original pickups on the outside. And then on the inside, he's actually got like a Broadtron and a humbucker.
So he has 4 pickups in it?
He's got 4 pickups, including the original Telecaster pickups. And then the plate has, I think, like 4 or 8 flip switches.
He would.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And in regards to the other person I think of, just the simple fact he's popular in metal, but the guy plays all genres amazingly well.
John Five.
Five.
I was like,
Ben
where's
knew
John?
automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah, huh? You like that guy?
And for our non-Canadian viewers, Terry, would you say, because he had a variety of hits in the 70s into the 80s, Dave Wilcox was Canada's Steve Miller?
Yeah, pretty much.
I was trying to think of a comparison. Dave Grohl, not exactly the same kind of music, but similar, radio hits through the 70s. But yeah, great player, hell of a player. It was kind of like cross between Steve Miller and George Thorogood.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, a lot of Wilcox's biggest hits actually all came out of his stuff out of the 70s.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Which
used to
is
play
funny.
around here all the time in the 80s. He used to play the Dutch Mill all the time.
And
So-
he plays various styles of music: country, zydeco, blues, bluegrass. He has all these different types
Rock,
of music
hard
that he's
rock.
played. Rock. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. Charles 75N says he's been on a Johnny Lang kick lately.
Nothing wrong with
That
the
is
Johnny
nice.
Lang thing.
Very good.
Beyond that, country-wise, I always think back to one of the people that my grandpa used to always listen to, Merle Haggard.
Oh, Merle. Yeah, no one's better than him.
Waylon.
Yep.
Jennings, yep. The funny thing is, I have a photo of me playing a guitar that you would see Waylon playing. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find that thing.
Nice. Tinkerbell mentions Chrissy Hind, and we've actually seen photos of Eddie Van Halen playing Chrissy Hind's telly.
Yep.
And she also has her signature guitar released by Fender recently too.
Yeah. Yep.
I was actually kind of shocked by that, but also at the same time not surprised because of how good of a player she is and how good of a musician she is.
Underrated.
Yeah.
People think, oh, she just sang. Nope. She was a solid member of that band.
It's like I'm trying to think another telly player now. Thinking about it, I'm not sure if Fender released one. Did Fender ever do a Sheryl Crow signature telly?
I think briefly. I want to say like a sparkle red, like a...
I thought it was a red
Yeah.
double bound guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if she had one or not.
I remember her playing a blue one a lot, too. Like she had like a Pelham blue and a red, I think.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second, guys. I'm almost
Sure.
there.
And I'm going to agree with Dave, too, because one of my favorite country pickers is Johnny Highland. I just love Johnny's playing.
Johnny is just out of bounds. In fact, all the guys in Nashville love Johnny. They all look up to him.
There's two good choices by D-Mac, Andy Summers, and Joe Strummer. I like it.
Oh yeah, I can't forget Andy Summers.
And Joe Strummer.
Mm-hmm.
He showed you play punk rock on the telly.
Yeah. That's actually funny because you think about most versatile instruments. Is the telly the most versatile instrument out there?
I think so.
Yeah, I'd have to say so for the amount of genres of music it's showed up in.
Yeah, I mean, you can play it. You can use it for anything.
Well, and especially if you look at it as just playing a stock telly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it would be Jim Root plays the telly, right, Terry? But it's got active EMGs in it. Is that a telly, or a telly-shaped object, right?
Yeah.
John 5, you had mentioned. His telly, great guitar. I've played a John 5 telly, but it's not your passive single coil. But your passive single coil has still shown up all over stuff. Bruce mentions Prince. Yep,
Yeah,
Prince
true.
played his Hondo telly, right? That was a Hondo telly.
Yeah, most of John 5's tellies are dual humbucker, or in case of the one that is also both a Squier and a Fender, he has one that's a telly deluxe with triple wide range humbuckers in it.
Right. That's a lot of humbuckers. That's just
Yeah.
unreal.
Yeah, I mean 3 humbuckers looks pretty mean, but to see 3 wide range humbuckers across a body, it's like, wow.
I'm going to throw Tom Petty and Mike Campbell out there as well.
Yes,
One or the
Mike
other
Campbell.
Yep.
tellies on occasion.
Big fan of Mike Campbell and Tom Petty.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find this photo.
I will say that was, for gear, the coolest concert was catching Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers on their last tour, because both Tom and Mike swapped out guitars every single song for an hour and a half plus.
Yep.
You know, and Dave, you expect it on the electric stuff, but when they go into Tom plays 3-4 songs in a row on acoustic, but he plays a Martin one song, a Gibson another song. You know, he's still swapping out acoustics every song. And I'm sitting there with, you know, my best friend Richie, who's as much of a gear junkie as I am, and we're like, how many millions of dollars worth of gear did we witness tonight? Because we know it's all vintage, you know, and like I say, they were swapping every single song. We did not see the same guitars twice.
I got to admit the Gibson signature Tom Petty, I think it's J200 that they released. It actually is really sharp looking what they've done to it.
Beautiful guitar.
I'm hell bent into trying to find this photo here. Forgive me, guys.
No, it's all good.
We'll just keep shooting the breeze. Terry and I are great at that. We're like professionals.
There it is.
Ooh, nice.
How come that did that?
It's on my list, a leather-bound telly like that. I love that. That's just, you know, you just plug that into a phaser, into a Fender Super Twin, and look out.
Yeah, that was really special playing that guitar. Very
No
cool.
doubt.
And in the same breath, I played one of these. And look
That's basically the same thing.
But look at the size of that guitar.
I was going to say a mini.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't recall you ever being that big, Dave. I know you've lost weight, but geez. We're just lucky that isn't the one photo Ty used for our intro.
That would have been terrible.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Dave's actually 8 feet tall. All his custom guitars are actually built oversized, so they look like normal. Makes him look normal. Honest, they're all baritones, really.
You're damn right.
Oh, I forgot about another telly player. Fairly popular on YouTube. Ben's met him once. Gregory Koch.
Oh, Gregory Cockery. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a photo of me and him on here. He towers over me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, his recent Gristlemaster that he has coming out from Reverend is actually a dual P90 model.
Yeah, I haven't played that one. I played the original Grizzlecaster, and being a larger guitar, you don't notice that it's a larger guitar. I think anyone that's like I'm 6 feet tall. Anybody 6 feet or more, it's just going to feel fine to them regardless. Great tone. Those Fishman pickups. With the tone shift button. As he's the only guy that we would know that puts in a tone shift in a pickup circuit to mimic black-faced versus silver-faced Fenders. Who does that in a pickup set?
Wow, that actually is unique.
Yeah. You know you're a full-time tone sniffer when? And I almost bought a set of pickups when you got Greg Koch telling you, well, you do this. I'm like, well, you can do that. I can't.
Yeah, you can play the way you do.
Yeah. Super nice guy.
And that seems to be another thing, too, I notice. A lot of the great guitarists seem to be guys that are tall and have long, thin fingers.
Yeah,
something I don't have.
I'm tall, but I'm not small fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And
like, I mean, people like Hendrix, Paul Gilbert.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, the funny thing is Hendrix was not tall, but he had big fingers.
Yes.
He had man hands.
Yeah.
He definitely wasn't a mannish boy. Well, actually, maybe he was. When he was a boy.
I wasn't around back then. Nice. Any other questions or comments, concerns from the chat? We've got quite the crowd here. I like it. quite the variety of folks.
Oh, nice!
I dug this
Forgot
back
all
out.
about that.
I forgot when you stole Pete Thorne's guitar.
Funny thing, when Pete first got his, I contacted him and I said that I have one a replica of one coming, and I had showed him the body, and the body and neck were made at the time, and it's not a bolt-on. This is a real deal. And he says that looks like it's going to be a delicious guitar, and boy is it. My friend Don Ward, or Donnie Ward, if you contact him on Facebook or you look him up on Facebook.
I love that piece of wood.
He's got an original 75, and he's got a CNC machine, and he builds these things. He builds exact replicas of these guitars, or at least the carcass of them. I don't know that he'll do a full build for you, but this is it. I mean, it's really amazing. The guitar is amazing.
Yeah. I love the wood. That wood.
Yeah,
especially when you flip it over in the pattern. It's just like a perfect pattern.
And that is one of those holy grail guitars that, Terry, you know as well, on the secondary, nobody cares if it's an Ibanez or a Gibson.
Yep.
If it's a 75, type thing. They don't care. Because let's be honest, Ibanez was putting out just as good a guitar as Norland era Gibsons.
Better than that.
Yeah. Bruce says Ace Frehley had one, I think. He did.
He certainly did. So this guitar is an ash body and a maple neck with a rosewood fretboard. This is a 2-piece. Normally the Ibanez's were 6 to 8-piece bodies.
Wow.
2-piece mashed body. The pickups in this are bare knuckle mules. The difference in this guitar to an Ibanez is I decided to go with the Gibson Nashville bridge and tailpiece instead of the Ibanez because I wanted a little more stability. I went with Grover Rotomatic, basically 2 sets. To get 6 in line, you had to buy 2 sets because they only come 3 and 3.
Yeah.
But to get all 6, and these are the milk bottle ones.
Oh, nice.
Slightly more expensive.
Does that mean you're going to commission a lefty version just to use the tuners left over?
No, I don't even have my. I left them for Donnie. I just took what I needed. The guitar is probably about 9.5 pounds, slightly
Which
heavier.
that's fine for that.
Yeah, it's not bad,
Yeah.
but it just sounds killer.
Mm-hmm.
Fretwork is amazing. The action is crazy low. And the guitar just sounds and feels so good. For a big guitar like this, you don't think it'd be comfortable on your lap, but it's absolutely comfortable. It's comfortable to stand with, comfortable to sit with. Just
And it looks damn cool too.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, get your Cheap Trick on.
That's right.
I was gonna say, is that your first set of bare knuckle pickups that you've
No,
played?
I've had a few sets. This is my 3rd set of mules. I've had a couple set of mules in other guitars, and in my Black Beauty Les Paul, I have a set of bare knuckles Storm Mule Mondays.
Ooh.
So
Very nice.
it sounds great. It just sounds great.
Bert is saying, Rick Nielsen has the OG Explorers worth millions.
Well, maybe it's worth millions, but an Explorer is probably about $650,000, somewhere around there, give or take a couple thousand or so. Yeah.
Guitar Man 45 bought a Gibson Explorer about 4 months ago with the burst buckers in it.
Nice.
They work nice in the Explorers, I will say. I plugged in both the Epiphone and Gibson Explorers. I played them because I've always been a fan. Both of those lines sound great. They do sound slightly different, but they both sound great, I will say.
Well,
They're two of Very close, and that's the thing, with the Epiphone, the headstock's the same. It's literally just a different logo, slightly different neck profile in weight, but
Same
the
thing as
Gibson's a
the
little lighter.
V's. The Explorers and the V's, they kind of seem to not really differ much from each other.
Yeah, that was my argument, ribbing with Aljon Go, chief bottle washer over at Epiphone. He's like, but Epiphone we want to distinguish. That's why it has the different headstock. I said, yeah, but you don't for the Explorers and the V's.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and goes, shut up. Because I know, that's the one thing, He's like, shut up. So what do you think of the ones? So I'm like, they're great, dude. They are great. Like that guy, he's great for that company. He's done some great things for Epiphone brand, the Kramer brand, and next, the Steinberger brand in 2022. Just saying. Expect some stuff.
So anyway, the pickups in these mule pickups, they're I'm not going to say they're all underwound, but they're wound just like the original Gibson pickups from the late 50s, where some are hotter than others, some are not as hot. So it's luck of the draw. It's pick of the litter, however you want to call it. Some have some are lower wound, lower output. Some are higher output. These happen to be low. Both of them are in the low sevens, which I think in this guitar sounds amazing.
Yeah, nice, a nice traditional tone. You can get your classic rock on with that. Oof. I prefer. I like having the underwound. I've become a real fan of underwound pickups across the board, both single coils and humbuckers. Maybe I'm getting old. I don't know. It's like the meme that goes around. You hit 40, you got to own a Telecaster. Well, I like underwound pickups. Like they're just so glassy sounding and great. Like they just sound better clean. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of having underwound pickups, let the amp do the work, and listen to the sound of the guitar.
Exactly.
The sound of the wood of the guitar is what I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm. I agree on that.
And that's what I have. That's all I have on the table tonight for me. Is there anything you guys want to show? Anything you want to talk about?
No, I'm not allowed to talk about that. Fine. Yeah, that's right. I'm doing one of those YouTuber things. Oh, I can't talk about that. What do we got? What do I got going on in the works? In the process of restoring the gear that I acquired last week, which is fun, pulling off a decade of nicotine and tobacco residue, which I was saying to Dave off air, I kind of miss that. Because it used to be every guitar player I bought a piece of gear off of, I swear, chain smoked and used the case as an ashtray.
God.
So, every white guitar you buy was buttercream. Perfect, and then you clean it off. You're like, oh, wow, it's Olympic white. Huh, who knew? So, yeah, I kind of miss that. So that's, as much as I hate doing it, it's fun to get in there and clean these suckers up and restore them back and get them playable, and who knows what's going to happen with those. Other than that, I haven't really been playing with too much new gear per se. Although I should probably get to work, Terry, and put out some demos. That would be a good idea. Instead of the videos where I'm just talking about guitars, which I put out today. Put out a video today, Dave. It's on the workbench. Did I work on the guitar? No. Did I play the guitar? No. Just talked about the guitar. Yep.
And had me call it the wrong color.
And then
basically think of it the wrong model.
That's a beautiful black. Nope.
You know what I can talk about? Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find a good picture of it. Hang on, guys.
But in regards to that model, I actually would prefer having that EX versus the DX.
Yeah. Well, it's a letter better. Or worse, depending on which school you went to.
It's also not blocky, like it was built in Minecraft.
Right. True.
Okay, so I'm going to show this. I ordered, so I'm trying out, since I have half a thumb and I can't really hold on to a normal pick anymore. I'm going to try something new out,
Mm-hmm.
and they are going to be stainless steel picks, but I'm going to try this out.
Oh, that looks nice.
It's it's a triangular, larger pick. It should be easier for me to hold in my hand since I don't have a full hand to hold onto a pick with, and I wanted to get the name on there, but and now that I've become this big fan of Brad Gillis and his tone and things that he uses. He uses a pick similar to this. It's stainless steel. It's a light gauge stainless steel. He also swears that it doesn't kill the strings. And, picks like this you can get amazing pick scratches out of, different sounds that you can't get out of plastic. So these are coming. I'm not sure exactly when they're coming, but they are coming, and they will be in that rose color.
Awesome.
So it's almost like a cross between a bass pick and a guitar pick then.
Well, what's cool about it is it's 3-sided, but the two sides that aren't as pointy are still pointy enough if I want to use them, but they're also soft enough where you can get a little warmer tone out of them.
Yeah.
And since I really don't have the power to hold on to something, if the pick rotates in my hand, I'm going to play with some sort of point at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay. I think it's going to be okay. Now, I ordered 50 of these things, so hopefully they work. If not, I'll be giving some away.
We're gonna have 50 contests here on the channel, folks.
So I was just gonna say, if they don't work, it's good promotional stuff.
Right.
Actually, I did just remember. I did put in an order on a new pedal this week as a result of Sunday night's hang there, Terry.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Although I'm waiting for a reply, Rob from Tessie, if you're lurking. I'm just saying. Why am I looking at the microphone? Let's look at the camera. Rob, reply. Because I'm waiting on the invoice. I ordered the Earthquaker Devices Rainbow Machine, which is possibly the most useless pedal to have on your pedal board, Dave, because it's just a noise generator of weirdness and chicanery. And Rob played one last time I had him on my channel, and I went, I need that in my life, because that's just going to piss off bandmates with all kinds of weirdness.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's cool. It's cool. So
it's like a Miku?
Well, I was telling Richie about it last night, and he said that's the most useless pedal I want to own other than the Miku from Korg. So, and I want a Korg Miku as well, just because who doesn't?
Well,
want
I mean, there is a place in our hearts for something that's useless.
Yep. And if I didn't embrace useless, I wouldn't have a YouTube channel. So.
Well, look, there's certain bands, I guess, like Sonic Youth and that have implemented stuff.
Well, that's what I'm curious. What can I do with it, Terry? Sitting here with a looper or a backing track or something. Let's see what happens.
Feed it into a fuzz, and it would just be like pure craziness.
Exactly.
Or feed it into something and get really wacky with it. Like, it reminds me of like some of that stuff that Electro Harmonics put out years upon back.
Sure.
Was it the synth, micro synth? I think it was. Yeah. With all the sliders all over the place.
Yeah.
This is a great question for the people in the chat. Let us know something musical, something that you have bought that you wound up saying, this is a useless piece of shit. Why did I get it?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good question.
I know myself, I can't think of... Well, sorry, I can think of one thing. And it was an amp. Trainer TS80.
Ooh, the TS80. Sure. Yep.
Ben knows what I'm talking about. was probably the worst solid state amp that Trainer put out, I guess, during the early 80s or something like that.
It was not good.
Oh.
It was not good. No. I was thinking there's a handful of fuzz pedals I bought that were absolutely useless to me. Hey, unbelievable. Good to see.
Hey, unbelievable.
Yeah.
It says every guitar I ever owned. That's user error.
Very funny.
Sean Zimmerman says the Sonic Stomp.
Yes. The BB Sonic Maximizer.
The string stretcher. That can't be useless. That did, in theory, it did do something that was useful.
Unbelievable says, seriously, my PV Rage. Yeah, they weren't exactly tone generators.
No, but I mean, a PV Rage, I mean, that's just a little house
I got
practice.
several of those. Yeah, that was your going to jam amp because it was so small, it was easy to carry, and it just made us. All you needed to do is make a sound.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, they named it right because when you put it fully distorted, that's all it sounded like was rage.
Or my feeling inside trying to dial in a decent tone was rage. I kid because I own 3 of them.
I can't think of too many more things right now, but I'm sure there's a ton.
Oh, my DoD envelope filter was a pretty useless purchase.
Oh, yeah, any DoD pedal for me.
I like
Except
them
the
because
old 250, the yellow DoD 250,
Yep.
that was a good pedal.
I still have a DoD Octoplus octave pedal on my board. Doesn't track worth crap, but I love it.
I did have at least one DoD pedal, which I did love at the time, and that was the classic fuzz.
By the way, I wanted to say, hey, Bruce Poinsett, thank you for coming, man. I haven't seen you. It's got to be 2 years I haven't seen your name pop up.
Yeah, great.
Nice to see you,
Joining
Bruce.
us. Thanks for joining us.
He mentions Gorilla amps. Yep.
Oh, I had one of those, and it actually was better than the Trainer TS80.
You're right, Terry. It was.
Yeah. As much as people wanted to knock them, and I had the model I had, I think, had an 8-inch speaker. It had the tube stack distortion and a chorus on board.
Wow. You know what pedal I've been threatening to buy the past couple weeks is the Ibanez TS10.
The TS10.
The TS10.
Nice.
But even the one that's made in Taiwan
Mm-hmm.
is now $350 to $500.
Yep.
I can't see spending that much money on a tube screamer. I know it's the last incarnation of tube screamer that Stevie Ray Vaughan ever used. I know it's got a little bit more gain than a TS9 and a TS808. It's a very cool sounding pedal. Is it $500 cool for a plastic pedal? I don't know. And in some cases, if you buy the Japanese one, it's $1,000+ Boy, that's a little tough for me.
Hey, Mitch
Mitch
Heyman.
Heyman. Mitch Heyman, how are you? Hardwood Steaks, the Boss GE7. I think that is an amazing pedal. It is a great boost pedal for your Marshalls, or if you if you have a low gain overdrive like a Lightspeed or a Timmy, and you want to use the GE7 to boost the mids a little bit. What a great pedal that is, and it's most of them are not very noisy either.
Actually, think of useless pedals. The MXR Distortion Plus, because I didn't use it correctly. Terrible on its own if you don't have the right amp. Does not play well with Fender amps.
No, it's made for an amp that's already broken up,
Yep.
like an 800. The best pedal for an 800 is the old SD1 Boss.
Yep. Got one of those.
Super overdrive. I love that pedal. I think we were talking about that last week with Ty.
Yep.
Yeah, Mitch with his Gibson SG Standard 61.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, it's a nice guitar.
Congratulations on that. Very cool. Yeah, the SG, man. I love my SG. It is awesome.
Those, it's not easy to get an SG right now, eh, Terry? Like, they're selling as fast as they're making them. A friend of ours, Steve from Boston there, recently ordered an SG, and even with connections, he had to wait a few weeks before he got his.
Yeah, and even Gibson themselves actually just announced that they just put out a whole bunch. That they just.
I like that they're using the Vibrola as well.
Mm-hmm. Sean Zimmerman says the Electro-Harmonix metal muff.
Oh, yeah, that one's got a bad reputation.
I kind of like the way he says it, though. Metal muff.
Yeah.
Well,
we don't even need the X.
I know, Electro-Harmonix, but it sounds funny. He says,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and that's because that's what it is. There's a lot of people that had them, and that's basically what they did say anyways, was, It was a
Digitech 300A.
Any one of the RPs, any one of them, horrible. Horrible foot pedals.
Yep.
I got
the only
55.
Digitech pedal I really liked was the Digitech Screamin' Blues, which is basically their blues driver.
Yeah.
Well, I love the Waza Blue Driver. I love it. I didn't like the original one, but the Waza sounds amazing. But then again, all the Waza pedals sound amazing. I just, they've made me love Boss pedals again.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's a great idea with the plethora of boutique builders out there. Why not have the quote unquote Boss custom shop, if you want to call it that?
Sure.
Yeah.
MXR did it a couple of years ago with the MXR custom shop, but they didn't really do anything with it. It was the weird part. They brought out a handful of circuits that were strictly custom shop, so they're premium pedals. But why not move one of your iconic pedals, like say the Phase 90, make the script the custom shop Phase 90?
Mm-hmm. Bruce Poinsett says he has the RP50, and it's fizzy. I remember working at Guitar Center one year, and we had during either the Christmas holiday season or something like that, we used to sell them for $10. RP50 for $10.
Unbelievable says, I think I still have it. May send it to Ben. Great. So that means I have to do a demo on an RP300A? Great. Thanks.
Wait a second. Is it RP300A or RP300A?
Yeah. Do I spell it A or EH? That's a good one, yeah. Yeah, well, he did send me a Joyo 6-band EQ to demo. Yeah. Still, he's waiting on that demo, and he's going to be waiting a while. We'll figure it out at some point.
The tuner is solid on that, Bruce? Okay. Well, hey, it's got to do something really good. Tuner.
Hey.
And we all need a tuner.
Marsman. The mayor of Marseille, Marsman himself, who conspired to scare the crap out of me the other night, Dave. I'm doing my live stream Sunday night. Marsman and my brother from another mother, Aaron from Albus Band, both of them live in Illinois outside Chicago. So they coordinated with my sister to have a pizza delivered while I was on air.
Uh-huh.
The problem was my father, who is older and not in the best of health, answers the door, but could not bring the pizza down the stairs. So I'm live on air, and all of a sudden I hear my dad screaming my name, half out of breath, and I'm thinking he's having a bloody heart attack, because I'm like, what? I'm on the air, yelling, and he's like, just come here. And I'm like, oh no, my deepest fear as primary caregiver. And he's standing there and goes, here, pizza. I'm like, what? What? I'm in the middle of a live stream. And I was just like, okay.
Did you bring it downstairs and share with everyone?
I brought it down. Actually, the moment we were off air, I tore into that sucker, and it was great. It was a good pizza, I will say. And that was the post Sunday night show snack, which led into lunch and dinner on Monday. I had leftover pizza, and it was great.
That's very funny. Very funny. So here's another pedal, but I think this falls under. It depends, but I think it falls under cool. And it's a
Now,
DOD, the DOD Gonkulator.
The Gonkulator.
that's actually probably the first random sound generator pedals I think out there.
Yes, it was. I didn't know whether it was cool or a piece of garbage until I put it on a record, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. From that moment on, I was like, "Oh my god, this thing is amazing."
Then you could be one of those guys. Like, can you imagine? It takes off, and then 10 years down the road, your roadie is searching out every Gonkulator to have backups for your pedal board.
Yeah.
You have to have it, right? For that
Yeah,
one song.
I worked at Manny's Music in '95 till almost 2000, and this is no shit. This happened. So DOD would give us all these pedals, all that whole series, the Gonkulator, and all those funny named pedals that they had for a while. I can't remember the rest of them. But on the counter, if you ever been to Manny's Music in the '90s, you walk in and you walk into the guitar department, and in the middle of the guitar department is the pedal display counter. And, a couple of us would stand in there, and our computers were there. And on the top of the counter was like this mountain of these pedals. So every day, because they were garbage, at least back then we thought they were garbage, every day one of us we would all come in, and one of us would throw one of those pedals in the garbage. Just take one off the thing and throw it right in the garbage. It was the funniest thing. Like, we were supposed to sell them. We threw them in the garbage. It was so funny.
Imagine now they'd be worth money.
That Gonkulator is worth some coin, I believe.
Now, speaking of which, why I went and ran off like I did.
Which? Oh, there's a
Hang on.
throwback.
There it is.
The RP50. Yeah.
The
Used to get the other
RP50.
way.
I got one of them. Now, I have to say the reverbs in here are really nice, but the one big saving thing about these and the other effects is the one thing that I believe Digitech didn't do was the auto yaw.
Oh, dear Lord.
They should actually release that as a pedal.
So let me ask a question. What's bouncing around in that thing?
Oh, how were these powered, you asked?
Oh, okay, there you go.
AA batteries.
And you still have the back plate. That's amazing. That's the first thing that broke off those things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yep.
like, it's like any other pedal used, it says with or without the box. You see a DOD, it's with or without the battery cover.
Yeah, I don't even know if the serial number has any validation of its age, but it's like 002599638.
Don't send that to me for demo, Terry. Do
What's
not.
that? Send it to you for demo, Ben? You don't want to play with the auto yaw?
I have to say this. Bruce Punset says, Dave, I got my fistula removed after 15 years of getting stuck. Now I have a graft in the other arm. Hope your treatments are going well. Those of you that don't know what a fistula is, now I don't want to gross anyone out, but in this arm here, let's see if I can get this. You see this what looks like to be this big muscle thing here? Well, that's a vein, and that is what a fistula is. And in this part of the vein here, because I have no kidneys, they stick me in these two areas 3 times a week and clean my blood and also take any extra fluids out. But over here is an artery that they put in, and then they widen the vein so that blood can flow through. So instead of being hooked up to a machine for 9 hours a day, it's now 3.5 hours a day. But yes, so he had his fistula taken out after having it in for 15 years. I've only had mine in for 3 years. So, and hopefully I'll get a kidney, and then I won't need it anymore. But
Hopefully,
yeah.
yes.
So, well, I'll get a kidney once these two things heal, I go back as active on the list, and probably within 6 months I'll get a kidney. So
That would
just
be awesome.
waiting for these two things to heal, and they're almost there. So yes, it is. It's a little makes you queasy sometimes. I certainly don't watch them put in the needles in, but it doesn't hurt at all because they use this spray that numbs the skin, and I got to tell you, you don't feel anything.
That's great.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And to have these needles that are 15 gauge needles, they're not little needles, they're huge. To have these two things sticking out of your arm for 3.5 to 4 hours, 3 times a week, and not feel it, it's a godsend. And that machine that keeps my blood clean and keeps, I pray to God and thank God every day of my life for that machine, for me to sit here on this dumb machine here and talk to you people.
That's right. And we talk about these dumb machines back here. I love it.
And yes, that's something that I also bother Dave about at times, because I went through that for 7 years with my mom until she passed away in 2019 from complications of her dialysis and the diabetes. And yeah, they never numbed when they did my mom's needles. And it's also
back then there was no such thing. And plus, I also use this cream, which is lidocaine prilocaine.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff works. I put this on in the morning, and then they put the spray on top of it once they take it off, and it's amazing. It's just amazing. Thank God for this stuff.
Nice.
Ben Tom.
Thank you, brother Tom.
Hey, Ben.
$10. You are always in my thoughts, brother Dave. It is brave the way you stay so positive all the time. Love you, man. Thank you so much, Tom. Appreciate it.
And I hope Tom's got a wicked migraine, because I had sent him an invite to come on tonight, but he's got quite the headache. So I'm glad Tom's active enough to be able to participate in the chat. Not necessarily the super chat, but Tom knows I love him. I was talking to him earlier. And happy belated birthday to Cayenne, Tom's son. Celebrated his birthday on Monday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
I got to see some video of that, which was awesome. Still migraine on the couch. Nice. Well, nice on the couch, not nice for the migraine.
Yeah, and I was gonna kind of say that as well too while I was on here, not to try to get on that boat, but it's very important when we're talking about what's going on right now in the world that people do get the shot and do get the mask, because there are people like Dave and others out there that are on dialysis that have weakened immune systems, that while you people that don't want to have that thing and wear the mask, it's people like Dave and other people out there who have compromised immune systems and that can get it, the thing that's going on right now.
That's right.
And affect their lives.
And I won't just get sick. I could possibly die. Well, we could all possibly die, but I have a greater chance of dying because I have a weakened immune system. Whereas someone like, someone that's in great shape, that has all their working organs, everything, might just, get sick like a regular cough or cold.
Right.
Might be a little bit more than a cold, but it's, shot or no shot, you got to be safe. You just got to be safe, because even though you have the shots, you can still get it, and you can still pass it on. You can still pass it on. So, Bruce, my heart goes out to you as well. I hold together like this. I don't clamp, Bruce. I hold both at the same time, and I clot very fast. I'm usually out of there literally within 2 minutes of the needles being pulled out.
Beautiful.
So, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Good to see Jeff K in here, by the way.
Hey Jeff, how are you?
Yeah. Hey Jeff.
Also, everyone that has given me well wishes, thank you so much. Mars Man, thank you. Crazy Cook, thank you so much. I absolutely love doing these shows for you guys. I enjoy it. I love the gear. I love the company. everybody, everyone in the chat, everyone that's in the video with me. I've, you guys may have seen some of the shows that I've done in the past on another program, and I look grumpy. Well, since then, I've turned the corner a bit, and I am nothing but happy to be here with you guys. I really enjoy doing these shows, and whatever extracurricular stuff I do for you guys, like the Guitar of the Month, which I did do one yesterday, and it will come out sometime next week. It is a 1959 Les Paul 3 pickup Black Beauty. It is gorgeous. And it will be the last video I do in Well-Strung Guitars for the moment, because they're going through a few changes. They're still around. They're rocking, but they are in the midst of doing something very big, and they need the extra time instead of doing videos with me to deal with what they're doing. But as soon as they're done and back up to 100%, we will come back and revisit the Guitar of the Week, because we have tons more guitars to show.
Nice.
But this particular guitar is amazing when you see it. And it's a third the price of a Burst.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I believe it. Is this the Forgotten 59s were those customs?
Well, I got to tell you, they do every bit as much the same thing the Bursts do.
Sure.
And they're a third the price. Yes, are they still kind of unobtainable to us normal, mortals, us mere mortals? Yes, they're unobtainable. But
it's nice to look at them and talk about them, though, Dave.
It's a religious experience. It's very
yeah, and having the chance to play some vintage gear. Not, I own a couple of pieces, and fortunately, during my Nashville trip, I was able to play a bunch of vintage gear. There is something different about it, and I will say, folks, if you have a chance to go into a store and play a vintage piece of gear, beware that as cool as it is, it'll haunt you down the road. I don't know about you, Dave, but 2 years later, I'm still thinking about that 57 Telly I played at Carter's.
Well, here's the thing, and I know I'm going to catch hell for this, but this is my opinion.
Hey, and it's your channel.
Once you play, I don't care how many custom shop guitars you have, how many USA made guitars you have, how many $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 guitars you have. Once you play a vintage version of whatever guitar you have, you're ruined after that. I know I am. You're ruined because the guitar that is supposed to be a reissue of that guitar never. And once you play, and I don't care, you can look at hundreds of vintage guitars. Until you play one, you never really get it. Yeah. Until you play, say you have a 62 reissue Strat and you love it, it's the end-all be-all guitar to you. Play a real 62 Strat, and then you go back to your guitar and say, well, this is nothing like that. That being said, there are the guys that are going to call me full of shit and say, well, those vintage guitars are maybe 5% better and different. Well, good for you. If that's the way you feel, good for you. But in most cases, once you play the vintage version of whatever guitar you own or whatever guitar you think is the most end-all be-all, you're done.
Yep.
You're done.
Yep.
I know I am.
Yep.
Every time I go into that store, I've got shitloads of custom shop guitars, and they're all fantastic. They're all great guitars. The difference being is I know they're not vintage guitars. I know they're not the real deal. They're real, but they're not old, and they're not the same. And as long as I keep that in my head, I'm happy with what I have, and I I don't really stress over the fact that they're not vintage. But if you go on thinking, well, my guitar is only 5% less, no, sorry, I'm sorry, it just isn't.
That's exactly it, Crazy Cooks 678. You get what you pay for. There's a reason why vintage gear commands the dollars it does.
Yeah. And that being said, I know that there'll be comments below tonight that people are going to call me full of shit, but that's okay. You absolutely can. And on that note,
Yes,
it is 10 p.m.
it is.
and that means we're going to
Dave
say
turns
goodnight.
into a pumpkin.
Yeah,
But at least it's a true bypass pumpkin.
well, the reason why I want to split.
Dave
so
turns
fast-
into an RP50.
Oh no. No, it's a bit of great news. It's a bit of great news. Tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m., Desiree and I get our marriage license.
Yay!
Oh, nice. Congrats.
In the eyes of New York, we will officially be married tomorrow. But I mean, we won't be married until July 10th, as far as as far as the man upstairs is concerned. But yes, the marriage license is tomorrow, 9:30. So.
Well, that just means you
Nice.
get to celebrate 2 anniversaries, one for the man upstairs and the one for the man in Albany.
Exactly.
See? I know New York State trivia, too.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I will say it's been a great hang tonight. We talked about all kinds of stuff. Who thought we'd be talking about Digitech stuff? Who knew?
You're absolutely
it was great having Terry on. Dude, I dig that Les Paul shaped object with P90s. That looks great. I really dig it. Thanks for coming on and joining Dave and me tonight. I always
Terry,
appreciate
thank you
you
so
on my
much.
channel.
And we
And,
will have you on again. We'll have you on again. We'll have you on here with Ty, and it'll be a great old big party. Appreciate you spending some time with us, and I appreciate that you're always in the chat, making sure we know what we're talking about. And it really means
As
a
I
lot.
say, I'm just here to help.
And we appreciate it. I certainly appreciate it because
I'm glad to help you.
when it comes to the computer, I'm as dumb as a stump.
Yep, me too.
I can barely do this, but thank you.
Yeah, and that
on
goes
note,
obviously for me too, because Terry helps out here. He helps out on my channel, a variety of others. I appreciate what you do, brother man. And thanks again, Dave, for allowing me to pull the wool over the eyes of this chat for another week.
it's our pleasure. Now, say one of those kind things that you always say.
Well, I like being a big believer in karma and positivity, folks. As always, hold those doors open for the next person. If you're commuting to work, leave a few minutes earlier. Why? So you let that guy in ahead of you that's on his phone with one hand, holding coffee in the other, steering with his knee. Just give him some extra room. He's either going to ditch it or get to work 3 minutes late. But be well, be good to each other, stay positive, stay chasing that tone, and come right back here next week where we're going to meet up, talk gear, and burn a slight hole in your credit card in the process. Yep, I said it.
Have a good night, everybody.